Welcome back, everyone. We are once again in my garage where I cook on the Blackstone Griddle. It is month 7 in my Blackstone journey of flat top cooking. While I've had a grill for many years, I would say the Blackstone has really transformed my prowess of being a griller or an outdoor cooker. And it's really invigorated my will to try new things and really be daring with different things to cook. So with that, today's video, it's time to season the surface. I've been cooking on it, like I said, for almost 7 months. Initially, before cooking for the first time, I put maybe 5 or 6 coats of seasoning on. Really, it's repeating the same step multiple times. I'll get into that here in a moment. You know, I take really good care of the surface. I'm in my detached garage, so it's not getting weathered. It's not being exposed to the elements. So that's helpful in maintaining its life. I put it away clean every night. So I get all the gunk off and I put a nice layer of, or a nice coating of oil on before tucking the sweet prince into bed every night. So with that, I've been able to get away without seasoning, or I should say re-seasoning. It was certainly seasoned before, and I'll show you where there's areas still seasoned and other areas that's down to the bare metal. So with that, I'm gonna get into the 3 main steps and show you how it turns out. As you can see, there's 2 primary areas where there is a lot of wear and tear. So here on the right side and the biggest part over here on the left. I would say I favor the left-hand side more for meats, just so that the slope of my garage floor takes the oil away and into the grease trap. And then usually doing more vegetables and different things here on the right side. At the same time I'm cooking the meats, it's just kind of the groove that I've gotten into. And then all of the various marks from my spatulas and tongs just kind of breaking away at that season. As you can see here, I'm going to take I don't know what this thing is called. It's a kind of a carbon foam brush. And I'm gonna really just work at getting as much of that excess old season off and get down to bare metal as best as possible before I start the re-seasoning of the griddle. First things first, I'm gonna turn this on and get some heat going. Not too much. Just want to be able to work up any of the stuff out there and then get this brush going. So the instructions say to pour oil or shortening on the grill. Simply hold to the hot grill and scour. So more or less just using it as a scouring pad to not really put a lot of elbow grease in, just to get up any of the loose stuff. And then from there, I'll wipe it clean and then start applying my coats of season. All right, so we are up to temperature. Just around 225 to 250 degrees. I'm gonna use, I use avocado oil while I'm cooking, but when it comes to just general maintenance on the cooktop, I'm saving money. I'm just using pure vegetable oil. So here goes nothing. Apply a little bit more oil on there. All right, so with that, I'm gonna try to wipe it clean. Turn my burners off. I don't need to add any more heat to that. Now, to help clean up this mess, let's mix some oil with water, shall we? Now it's important to get all of the gunk out of the corners. So I just take a screwdriver with the paper towel and really work that paper towel in there and just lift that up and it gets everything out of it. But yeah, at this point, darn near perfect. I mean, there's still some existing seasoning back here, over here. I think it's got most of it off. You know, my goal here is not to get it down to the base metal, just really to smooth out any inconsistencies so that the new seasoning, the new oil application will adhere and stick for a long time to come. Last thing I want to do before I get started and move forward, just want to take a clean paper towel. See if there's any residue on there yet. So very little. I'm kind of happy with that. It's not going to be perfect, but that is pretty clean. Final test, that's darn near perfect. Now taking a look at the cross section, it's not really a cross section, but this view of the griddle top, from what I showed before, you can really see a lot of openness. I mean, there's a little spot there I could have scrubbed harder on. This is my first time re-seasoning after the initial season, so I'm just gonna roll with it and see what happens. So that wraps up step one. It's all clean. My next thing I'm gonna do, and I might as well just do it right now, we need to get this puppy burning pretty hot. So I'm gonna turn on all 4 of the burners up as high as they go, get it up to around 500 degrees. What that's gonna do, it's going to get and evaporate any water particulates, molecules that are still residing on there from cleaning it off, and then from there I'll start applying the season. So stay tuned as I wait to get it up to temperature. All right, so we've got our griddle up to temp, and all I'm gonna do is apply very small layers of oil. Now I've got work gloves on that should insulate me. Otherwise you can use a pair of tongs just to keep your hands away from the griddle. But I'm just gonna, okay, so that was a little bit too much, but I'll work with it. Spread it around and just try to get every nook and cranny on the surface covered. Even do the side rails, in the grease trap. I did a little bit too much, so I'm just going to take another towel here and smooth it out a little bit, just so that there's not too much oil. Alright, so damage control worked, and as you can see, that thin layer of oil is starting to burn off, and that is what creates the chemical reaction to create that season for us. And that's step 2. Essentially, we wait until all of the smoke disappears. All right, so that's step 2. We're gonna wait until the smoke disappears, and then we're going to reapply. Do that as many times as you wish. I would say as few as 3 or 4 times, and the more the merrier. You're just essentially increasing the layer of that seasoned coat. So I think the first time I did it 6 or 7 times. I'll probably do it similar. Now we are cooking later, so I don't want to be doing this all night. Just wait until it stops smoking and then reapply. You can see the color change as that oil starts to caramelize and become seasoned. I don't know what the preferred or the proper terminology is or how this actually works. I'm sure you could Google it. Essentially, all oil has a smoke point, and once that smoke point is exceeded, it's basically burning onto the surface of the griddle and creating a non-stick protectant barrier between the metal surface and the food that you are cooking. All right, so I ended up closing the garage door to create a barrier between the wind and the burners. The main parts of the cooking area feels like they get up to temperature perfectly. It's just the outside portions that really don't surpass that smoking point and take a little bit extra time to burn that oil to create that season. So just trying to get rid of any sort of heat resistant like wind and allow this griddle to get as piping hot, smoking hot as possible. As you can see, the silverness of the bare metal is all but gone, and the main part of the griddle is seasoning nicely, and the outer edges are a little bit slower. I do find that this area right in here is the coolest on the griddle and thus hardest to build a nice season. And then at the grease trap channel also doesn't really develop a good season. I haven't had any issues with it. However, the goal is to get as much of the surface, tops and sides, seasoned just for protecting your investment. All right, so we'll take a side profile. This will be my third application. Again, at this point, just a little bit to get a nice small coating. If you use too much, it's going to get kind of like a gel consistency. So certainly err on the side of less oil. You can always reapply or add more, like I did just there. And then if you see areas that start to glob up, go over it with a paper towel just to keep it smooth. You can do the outside, the tops. Just everywhere there's exposed metal, so it helps protect your investment. And as you can see, those big open exposed areas are basically gone. You can see where there's a little bit of the old seasoning in there. It is filling in nicely. And with that, I'm gonna wrap it up here. There's not much more that I can show you. The third step, I guess I did promise 3 steps in the title of this video, so I'll call the third step just cleaning up and enjoying, and then cooking your next meal. So we're gonna have chicken quesadillas tonight. Once I go through the process with this a few more times, I'm gonna throw some chicken on and we're gonna eat. So I really appreciate you. You've had 500,000 other options to watch on YouTube how to season a griddle. And if you've made it this far and have enjoyed my video, I really appreciate you choosing my video to watch. Hopefully it's helped, gives you confidence that you can do this yourself. I know that doing it for the first time, if you remove any innuendos or overtones, this is a family-friendly channel, you're nervous and you don't want to mess anything up. And the great thing about a griddle, especially the Blackstone, now candidly I've had no other griddle but my Blackstone, so as my kids are making a mess back there, but I digress. So you can't ruin this. Worst case scenario, you season it wrong. I don't know if you can, but you can always just strip it down to bare metal and do it again. So keep it protected, keep up with it, and I think that this is something that will last for years and years to come. So thanks again. I'm out. Appreciate you watching this. I enjoyed making it, and we'll see you down the road.